Basically, I've added this problems flag over here to the admin interface, which just lets us mark an issue as having some problems with it. If maybe we need to follow up with the person that submitted it, maybe it's potentially a duplicate or there's some misentered information. So you can check these boxes. That persists if you refresh here. Persists. Just make sure you see that in each of these different categories. Persists. Same thing, uncheck one, check one. Persists. There is some very basic error handling, so if we were to kill the server and then try to make a change, there's a problem with the admin event metadata, error, network error. Get the idea. Pretty simple. This is admin interface. Doesn't need to be beautiful. If this doesn't stand out enough, we could do something more with these, like color-wise and whatnot, but I think this will probably suffice for now. Just really quickly to help with the review here, I'll show a bit of what I did here. Most of it's pretty straightforward, but there's a few little tiny workarounds I had to do to fit into some upcoming work. But basically, we create a new table here, event admin metadata. I decided to do it this way rather than just adding a flag to the events table, partly because it makes it easier to filter out for, say, non-admin users. If we don't want to show this, we could give them that option to see this, but anyways, it creates some flexibility there. It also creates an option for us to possibly expand on this in the future to have different fields here. Just makes it a bit more composable. Then to fetch that data, you can, like, this is where a bit of a hack came in, because in most places this is pretty clean. Let me see where that code is. Basically, in most places, you can use the inclusion flags that we have to just say that you want to include an event of that you want to include event admin metadata model when you fetch the events, and it'll just kind of automatically get embedded. There was a tiny issue with the way this works with current events. Let's see, it might be easier to show this over here. Let's go to web portal, store, admin. So here we go. So we can just add this embed admin metadata flag to say an events path, and then it's going to include that information. Problem here with current events is that because this is backed by a materialized view right now, the Sequelize was having trouble like understanding how to merge these two things and what the relationship was. So handling that proved a little bit more tricky. So what I did was a little bit of a hack that we can take out in the near future once the work is done to unify that view. But basically, it gets handled in here, and then it doesn't get exposed farther up, so we should just have to basically delete a little bit of code in here. So let's find where we use this guy. This is really the only thing that's a little weird in here. So there's this little chain here where basically we have to get our current events, and then what we have to do, and this whole endpoint is something I added just to support this hack. They could probably go away once we get rid of this, because it doesn't seem very necessary. But basically this gives us a way to get all the event admin metadata. That sounds like it could be a performance issue, but it really shouldn't be, because you have to remember that event metadata is only created when we tag one of these things, and I doubt we're going to be doing that too often. So, you know, until we get like hundreds of these or thousands of these, it's probably not going to be a problem. Yeah, hopefully at that point we'll be off of this system. But basically I have to fetch all of them, and then just merge them into the events that are there. Um, I could have done this on the back end, but again, I know that Becky's in the middle of some work to drop this current event controller altogether and to do this merge work. So I figured that was just going to create unnecessary merge conflicts. So just hacked it in here. And then once Becky's work's in place, basically all the inclusion flag stuff is handled in kind of a universal way on the back end. So really, it should all kind of just fall into place. Mostly, it should just be a matter of deleting all this garbage and then adding this embed flag up here to whatever this endpoint looks like after the changes, and it should all work at that point. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else too strange in this PR wherever it went. You will notice I'm not very good at navigating this thing here, but there is a lift toml added somewhere in here. I'll find it over here. That's somewhat unrelated to this work, but I just went ahead and threw it in there because I was tired of seeing invalid ESLint feedback from Lyft. So this basically just makes it so that Lyft should only be running these two tools, which are the only really two tools that apply to us. So hopefully it'll stop being so chatty, and if it does say something, maybe it'll even be useful.